Before you drift into sleep, think for a moment about the greatest friendship in human history. It's a story that may be curled up at the foot of your bed right now. The ancient, unspoken bond between human and dog. It is a connection so deep it feels woven into our very being. We trust them, and they trust us with a loyalty that feels absolute. But where did this come from? How was this profound alliance forged? Tonight we find the answer. We are going on a journey to the very beginning, not just of the dog, but of the idea of the dog. Our story begins not in a warm home, but in a world of desperate, profound cold. It begins not with a pet, but with a rival, with two great hunters, a flicker of fire in a vast, frozen night, and a single gesture that would change the world forever. This is the story of how the wolf began its long walk to becoming the dog. And to get there, let your mind drift. Let the present day fade like a distant shore. We are going back through the countless corridors of time, beyond the age of iron, beyond the age of bronze, beyond the first cities, beyond the first farms. We are drifting back to a world of deep, profound cold. This is the Pleistocene, the great ice age. Imagine a world draped in white, a vast, silent blanket of snow and ice stretching from horizon to horizon. The very air you breathe is different. It is thin and sharp and so cold it feels like a blade against your skin. The skies are a pale crystal blue or a heavy swirling gray. The sun, a distant watery disk, hangs low in the sky, offering little comfort, little warmth. Great rivers of ice, glaciers thousands of feet thick, carve the land, their slow, grinding movement the only sound for miles. This is a world of emptiness, a world of rock and ice and wind. The wind is the true ruler of this land. It howls across the frozen tundra, a constant, lonely voice. It sculpts the snow into fantastic drifts and dunes. It carries the scent of pine from the sparse, hardy forests and the mineral smell of frozen rock. Life here is hard. Life here is a struggle, every single day, every single breath. The world is beautiful, in a stark, unforgiving way, but it is a world without pity. And in this immense, frozen world, two great hunters walk the earth. They are competitors, they are rivals. For millennia, they have moved in the same spaces, hunted the same prey, and known each other only as a threat. Their stories, which have run parallel for so long, are about to touch. They are about to weave together, to become a single thread that will run all the way to the present night. The first hunter is a creature of shadow and snow, a ghost of the frozen forest, the great gray wolf. This is not the wolf you know from stories. It is larger, stronger, built for a life of impossible hardship. Its fur is a thick, shaggy mantle of gray and white and black, a perfect camouflage against the snow-dusted rock. Its paws are wide like snowshoes, allowing it to move silently over the deepest drifts. Its eyes are the color of a winter sky, yellow and gray and blue, shining with a sharp, piercing intelligence. These wolves move in families. They are bound by a complex, perfect, and silent understanding. They are a pack. They hunt together, they play together, they raise their young together. They are the masters of the long hunt, predators of endurance. They can follow a herd of giant reindeer or steppe bison for days, waiting, watching, testing until the moment is right. Their howl is the anthem of this icy world, a long, mournful, beautiful sound that echoes for miles across the frozen plains. They are the perfect expression of the wild. The second hunter is new to this world. They are an anomaly. They seem weak. They have no thick fur to protect them from the biting wind. They have no great claws, no fangs of shear. They walk upright, balanced precariously on two legs. This hunter is man, early Homo sapiens. They are huddled, small bands of families draped in the rough, heavy skins of the animals they have managed to kill or scavenged. They are fragile, but they have a secret. They have a power that the wolf does not understand. In the mouth of a cave or behind a crude windbreak of mammoth bones and stretched hides, they have a living, breathing heart. A small, brave circle of orange and red that dances against the overwhelming, pressing dark. They have fire. The fire is their warmth. It is their shield. It is the magic that turns frozen, raw meat into a life-giving, warm meal. It is their beacon, their center. The humans are creatures of this fire. For thousands and thousands of years, these two hunters, man and wolf, have been in a stalemate. They are shadows in each other's lives. They hunt the same great herds. The colossal, shaggy mammoths, the woolly rhinos, the wild horses, the giant deer, their paths cross constantly. The wolf watches the man, with his strange sticks that fly through the air and his dangerous flickering fire. The man watches the wolf, with its speed, its power, and its chilling, cooperative intelligence. They are a threat to each other. The sound of a human band, the sharp cracking of stone against stone, is enough to make the wolf pack fade like smoke into the trees. The sight of those yellow eyes, glowing just beyond the edge of the light, sends a shiver of ancient fear through the human family. They steal each other's kills. A pack of wolves will drive a lone human hunter from his prize. A band of human hunters will use their numbers and their firebrands to scatter a pack from a fresh bison carcass. This is the way it has always been. A line of fear and respect and competition drawn deep in the snow. Now let your mind settle on a single night. A night like any other, which means it is desperately cold. The wind is a high, thin scream over the ice shield. The stars are scattered like chips of ice in the black, infinite sky. The human family is gathered. They are behind their windbreak, huddled close. The fire is in the center. It crackles and spits. It throws sparks up into the darkness, like tiny, brief stars. The children are asleep under a pile of furs. The hunters are resting, their stone-tipped spears close at hand. They have eaten. For this one moment they are full. They are warm. They are safe. But outside this small circle of light, the world is still hungry. And in the darkness, beyond the ring of firelight, the pack is watching. They have caught the scent of the roasted meat, a rich, tantalized aroma that cuts through the cold. Most of the wolves stay back. Their instincts, honed over 100,000 years, scream at them. Fire is danger. Fire burns. The two-legged creatures are loud and violent and unpredictable. The pack circles, nervous, keeping its distance. But in every generation and every species there are the outliers, the individuals who are different, the ones who do not perfectly fit the mold, the bold ones, the curious ones, the desperate ones. And in this pack there is one such wolf. Perhaps it is a younger male, lower in the pack's ranking, often pushed away from the kill, always a little hungrier than the others. Or perhaps it is a female, driven by a deeper, more calculating intelligence. This wolf's curiosity, or its hunger, has become just a fraction stronger than its fear. It does not join the pack's nervous howling in the far distance. It separates itself. It creeps forward. It stays low to the ground, its belly brushing the cold, dry snow. Its movements are liquid. It is a shadow detaching itself from the other shadows. It stops at the very edge of the light, where the flickering orange glow barely touches the snow, and the deep, safe blackness begins. Its eyes, gold and green, reflect the tiny, dancing flame. It is watching. It is thinking. Inside the circle of light, a human sees it. A sharp, sudden movement. A hand tightens on a spear. A quiet, guttural warning is hissed. The sleeping children are pulled closer without even being woken. The humans are rigid. They stare back at the two glowing points of light. This is a familiar moment, a moment of confrontation. Usually it ends in violence, a thrown rock, a shout, a curse, a hurled spear, or the wolf, realizing it has been seen, vanishing back into the night. But tonight, this time, something is different. The wolf does not snarl. It does not lower its head to attack. It does not show its teeth. It simply watches. Its head is tilted. It is a creature of immense hunger, but it is also a creature of deep social intelligence. It understands power. It understands threat. And it is not projecting a threat. It is projecting something else. Waiting. And the human who sees it, perhaps it is an elder, someone who has seen many winters. He sees the wolf is not in an attack posture. He sees its leanness, the hollows in its flanks. He sees the desperation, but also the caution. The humans have just eaten well. The tension of their own hunger is gone. For this brief moment they are predators at rest. The elder has a bone, a large one, stripped of most meat but still rich with marrow and gristle. He had tossed it aside into the snow. He makes a decision. It is a decision that will change the world. He does not shout. He does not stand or make a sudden, threatening move. He slowly, carefully picks up the heavy bone. The wolf flinches, but does not run. The elder, in a simple underhand motion, tosses the bone. Not at the wolf, but towards it, into the no-man's land of shadow between the fire and the forest. The bone lands with a soft, dull thud on the packed snow. The sound is tiny, but in the great silence it is enormous. The wolf vanishes, instantly, as if it were never there. The humans watch. The fire crackles. The wind is the only sound. Minutes pass. The humans begin to relax. It was nothing. Then the shadow reappears. It is at the same spot. It waits. Then it creeps forward, nose down, sniffing the air, reading the story of the human scent, the bone, the fire. It reaches the bone. Its head drops. There is a quick, sharp crack as its powerful jaws shatter the prize. The sound is loud. The wolf freezes, expecting an attack. None comes. The humans simply watch. The wolf takes the broken bone, and with a final backward glance, it melts into the darkness. This is the first transaction, a peace offering, a lucky accident, a calculation, a negotiation without a single word. It means almost nothing, and yet it means everything. It has broken a pattern that has held for 100,000 years. The next night, the humans are gathered. The fire is lit. They have eaten. And as if part of a ritual, they look to the shadows. And the shadow is there, waiting. This time the humans are less fearful. The spear is still held, but not so tightly. Another bone is tossed. The wolf takes it and retreats. This becomes a pattern. A ritual, the wolf at the campfire. The rest of its pack thinks it is strange. They keep their distance. But this one wolf, this bold ambassador, continues its silent diplomacy. It has found a better way to survive. The scraps from the human hunters are easier, more reliable than the long, dangerous hunt. Soon the humans begin to notice something else. When their camp wolf is near, no other predators approach. The great, hulking cave bears, the skulking hyenas, the saber-toothed cats. They stay away. The wolf's senses are infinitely sharper than the humans. Its ears twitch, its nose reads the wind. It can detect a threat long before the humans, huddled by their fire, are even aware of it. A low, quiet growl rumbles from the darkness. A growl not aimed at the humans, but at the other darkness. The humans hear it. They stir, grabbing their spears, peering into the night. They may not see what the wolf sees, but they understand the warning. The wolf is not guarding the humans. Not really. It is guarding its new, precious, reliable food source. But the effect is exactly the same. The humans are safer. The wolf is fed. This is the beginning of the Great Alliance. A bargain struck in the depths of the Ice Age, not from love, not from a plan, but from a mutual, pressing need. Survival. Now, imagine this wolf is a female, and she has pups. Instead of hiding her den in the deep rocks, miles from the human camp, she makes it just outside the ring of light. In a snowdrift, close enough for the warmth of the fire to be felt, close enough for the scraps of food her strange new partners provide. Her pups are born into a new world. Their first scent is not just pine and snow and their mother's fur. It is the unfamiliar, smoky smell of the human fire. Their first sounds are not just the wind and the call of the distant pack, but the low, gentle murmur of human voices. These pups born in the shadow of humanity are different from any wolves that have come before. They do not learn an instinctive, deep-seated fear of the two-legged creatures. They learn tolerance. They learn curiosity. A human child, small and brave, wrapped in furs, might creep out to see them. A small, fur-clad hand reaches out. A tiny, rough, pink tongue might lick the hand in return. The great genetic line is beginning to diverge. The tamest wolves, the ones least afraid, the ones most comfortable with this strange new arrangement, are the ones who thrive. They get more food. They are safer from other predators. They have more pups, and their pups inherit their tolerance. This is not a dog. Not yet. This is still a wolf. A camp wolf. A creature of the liminal space belonging neither to the wild pack nor to the human family. But the great change has begun. The sharp, frozen line between human and wolf has begun to blur. In the deep, bitter cold of the Paleolithic night, something new is being born. A relationship that will one day conquer the world. It begins not with a leash, or a command, or a cage. It begins with a shared warmth, a tossed bone, a mutual gaze across a flickering fire, a silent promise made in a world of ice. And now, sleep. The journey has just begun. Sleep. The world is beginning to change. The long, deep, frozen breath of the Ice Age is finally letting go. The great, grinding sheets of ice, which have held the continents in their grip for 1,000 lifetimes, begin to hesitate. They pause. They groan, a deep, resonating sound that shudders through the earth, the sound of mountains of water stirring in their sleep. The air itself feels different. The sun, once a pale, indifferent disk, now seems to burn with a new, gentle warmth. Spring, which was once a brief, desperate gasp between endless winters, now lingers. The snows still come, deep and hard, but the melt is stronger, more determined. Water begins to flow. Rivers are born, cutting new paths through the raw earth, milky with glacial silt. You can hear the world coming alive. The constant, soft drip, drip of melting icicles, the sudden, sharp crack of ice breaking on a pond, the rush of new streams. The smell of the air changes from the sterile, mineral scent of ice and rock to the rich, complex, dark smell of damp earth. The first green shoots, impossible, brave little spears of life, push up through the thawing mud. And as the world changes, so does the relationship born in its frozen heart. The pups born by the fire are no longer a strange curiosity. They are a fixture. They are a generation born in the shadow of humankind. They are not wolves, not truly. They have never known the discipline of the pack. They have never known the deep, endless hunger of the wild hunt. Their entire lives have been lived with the scent of human smoke in their fur and the complex musical sound of human language in their ears. The children of the tribe, who were once warned to stay far away from the camp wolves, now have new playmates. The lines of fear have been washed away like the snow. You can see them, in the weak afternoon sunlight, tumbling in the dust near the huts. They roll and laugh, small, dirty human hands pulling gently on soft, floppy ears. The pups, clumsy and fat, chew with harmless, blunt puppy teeth on scraps of leather and discarded sticks. They learn the scent of the human child as they learn the scent of their own mother. It is a bond of innocence formed before fear can be taught. This is where the great sculpting begins. It is not a conscious plan. No human sets out to create a new animal. It is a sculpting done by the slow, gentle, and utterly unstoppable hand of simple human preference. The wild wolf pack is still out there, a ghost in the distant, dark woods, living as it always has. But these camp creatures are on a new and fantastic journey. In every litter, there are differences. One pup is bold, but aggressive. It snaps at a human hand, not in play, but in fear. That pup is not fed. It is driven away with shouts and stones, back to the wild it understands. Another pup is hopelessly shy. It hides at the back of the den, trembling at the sound of a human voice. It does not come forward for the scraps of food. It starves, or it runs away, seeking a quieter world. But then there is another pup. This one is curious. When a human approaches, it does not snarl, nor does it flee. It wags its tail, a new, strange, rhythmic gesture of greeting. It lowers its head, licks the outstretched hand. It is calm. It is receptive. This is the pup that is fed. This is the pup the children claim as their own, give a name, a sound that belongs only to it. This is the pup that is allowed to sleep by the fire. This pup survives. It grows strong. And its pups, when they are born, are more likely to be calm and curious and receptive, just like their mother. Generation after generation, the tamest breed with the tamest. The most cooperative breed with the most cooperative. The most intelligent, not in the way of the wolf, but in this new, specific way, breed with the most intelligent. An invisible, gentle wall is being built, separating this new creature, day by day, from its ancient, wild ancestors. The change is slow, so slow it is imperceptible, like the erosion of a mountain by the wind or the turning of a star in the deep sky. Their very bodies begin to reflect this new life. The sharp, high-strung, flight-ready mind of the wolf, which needs to be on a hair trigger of alert at all times, is no longer needed in the relative safety of the human camp. In fact, it is a disadvantage. A creature that startles at every noise cannot live comfortably among loud, busy humans. And so the parts of the brain responsible for fear and stress begin, ever so slightly, to shrink. Their faces soften. The long, powerful, intimidating snout of the wolf, designed to tear frozen meat and hold struggling prey, becomes a fraction shorter. Their diet is softer now, cooked scraps, broth, leftover gristle. Their teeth, while still formidable, become a little smaller, a little less crowded in the shorter jaw. Their bodies, no longer needing the absolute peak of lean endurance to run down a caribou over 50 miles, become a little slighter, a little more varied. Some are heavier, some are faster, and strange, new, almost frivolous traits begin to appear. Traits that the harsh, demanding wild would have erased immediately. Ears no longer needing to be perfect, pricked funnels of sound begin to flop, to hang. Tails, once straight and low for signaling, begin to curl up over their backs in a happy, jaunty plume. Patches of white appear on their fur, a signal of tameness. And something magical happens. These new creatures, these proto-dogs, begin to watch the humans. They don't just watch for the hand that drops the food. They watch, they study. They learn, They see a human pick up a spear and a skinning knife, and they understand with a new and startling intelligence that a hunt is about to begin. They whine with excitement. They gather at the edge of the camp. They see a human pick up a woven basket, and they know this is a different journey, a journey for berries or for roots. They trot alongside calmly, content to snuffle in the bushes. They are becoming attuned. They are learning to read the minds of a completely different species. They learn the meaning of a human sigh, a sound of sadness or fatigue, and the creature, born of the wolf, will walk over and place its soft head on the human's lap, a gesture of comfort. They learn to read the subtle tensions in the human pack. When two humans argue, their voices low and angry, the dog senses the tension. It may let out a low, worried whine, or try to nudge its way between them, a four-legged peacemaker. This is the birth of something profound. Empathy, crossing the great, silent gulf between two different kinds of minds. For the humans, this creature is no longer just a scavenger. It is no longer just a living alarm system. It is a partner. It is a living, breathing, thinking extension of their own dull senses. The dog's nose can read the world in a way the humans can only dream of. The air, to a human, is just air. To the dog, it is a rich tapestry of information. It can smell the deer that passed by this spot 6 hours ago. It can smell the fierce scent of a rabbit hiding in a bush 50 feet away. It can smell the subtle metallic change in the air that means a storm is coming, long before the first cloud appears. Its ears can pivot, catching the faint, distant snap of a twig in the deep woods, and it knows instinctively that this is not the sound of a falling branch, but the footfall of a bear. It alerts the humans, not with a howl, but with a low, focused growl, its gaze fixed on the danger. The humans, with their poor ears and weak noses, look to the dog. The dog has become their interpreter of the vast, invisible world. Imagine a hunt in this new, thawing world. The world is greener now. The forests are thick with pine and birch. The colossal mammoths are vanishing, their grasslands shrinking, fading into memory. The humans must hunt new prey. Fast, clever red deer, powerful, aggressive wild boar, skittish herds of wild horse and bison. The humans are slow. Their two-legged pace is no match for the fleet-footed deer. They are noisy. They step on dry leaves. They snap branches. They are clumsy. But now they do not hunt alone. The proto-dogs move ahead of them, silent as mist, shadows among shadows. They are the scouts. They quarter the ground, their noses down, their bodies taut with concentration. They are not just smelling, they are reading a complex map, a story written in scent. One dog, a young female, freezes. Her body locks as if turned to stone. Her head is low, her tail straight. She is pointing. She has found the trail. She does not bark. She looks back at the hunters, a single, intense glance. The humans see this. They understand. They freeze, too. The hunt has begun. The dogs fan out, a crescent of silent, focused energy. They move through the undergrowth, guiding the humans, pushing the unseen prey, gently, subtly, towards a pre-arranged trap, towards a river, or towards the clearing where the hunters wait with their spears. Then the trap is sprung. The dogs burst from the cover. They are a blur of fur and muscle. They are not strong enough to kill a large deer themselves, but they don't need to be. Their job is not to kill, but to control. They harry the animal. They are fast, relentless. They nip at its heels. They run circles around it, barking now, a strategic, confusing, terrifying sound. They separate the weakest or the youngest from the safety of the herd. They corner it against a rockfall. They hold it at bay, a swirling, courageous dance of bravery and noise. They keep the deer's attention, its panicked eyes fixed on the fast-moving dogs, until the humans, those slow, clever partners, can arrive. The spear, thrown from a short distance, flies true. The hunt is a success, and the reward is shared. This is the new bargain, the seal of the alliance. The dogs are not driven away to wait for scraps. They are part of the hunt. They are part of the pack. They feast alongside the humans, their place at the kill secured, their loyalty rewarded. This alliance has made the humans exponentially more successful. They can find more food. They can bring down faster prey. They can feed more children. Their small bands begin to grow, and the dogs, in return, are given a life of safety and belonging and relative plenty, a life their wolf ancestors could never have dreamed of. The Ice Age breathes its last. The great thaw accelerates. The world is reborn in water and green. The tundra gives way to vast, dense, dark forests. The oceans rise, swallowing coastlines. Humanity must change again. They cannot follow the great herds, because the great herds are gone. They begin to settle. For the first time they build permanent homes, small villages of wood and mud and stone, built by the sides of rivers rich with fish and in the heart of forests full of game. And their companions, their dogs, settle with them. This is the moment the bond becomes unbreakable. The dog is no longer just a hunting partner. It is a guardian. It lies in the center of the village, among the huts, and it knows with instinctive certainty who belongs and who does not. It knows the scent of every person in its human family. A stranger, a rival tribe, a prowling night predator cannot approach this small island of human life without the dogs knowing. The silence of the night, once broken only by the cry of an owl or the howl of a distant wolf, is now broken by a new sound, a sharp, loud, repetitive volley of sound. The bark, a warning. An alarm, a signal evolved for one single specific purpose, to alert their sleeping human partners to danger. This creature born of the wolf has become the sentinel of the first human settlements. It guards the children as they play by the river. It sleeps at the foot of the human sleeping furs, a warm, breathing guardian in the dark. It is the first animal to be brought fully, completely, inside the human world. It is not a wolf. It is not a tool. It is something entirely new. A dog. A creature sculpted by the hands of an ice age and refined by the needs of a new, greener world. The alliance is complete. They are no longer two species living side by side in suspicion and competition. They are two species bound together, their futures, their very evolution, now permanently intertwined. They are a family, and together they will walk out of the Paleolithic mists and into the uncertain dawn of human civilization. The journey is far from over. Sleep now. Rest. The world is changing, but you are safe. Sleep. The world is changing again, and this time the change is profound. The long, slow, grinding thaw of the Ice Age is complete. The great continent-spanning sheets of ice have retreated to the top of the world, leaving behind a new landscape. A landscape of green, rolling hills, of vast, dark forests, of winding rivers and new coastlines. The air is warmer, softer. The rains are gentler. And in the places where the sun is strongest, where great, slow, brown rivers carve life-giving, fertile valleys, humanity is making another impossible leap. We are leaving the caves. We are leaving the forests. We are no longer just following our food. We are beginning to make it. Imagine a new sound, a sound that has never been heard in the world before. Not the snap of a twig, or the howl of the wind, or the crack of stone on stone, but the wet, rhythmic, sucking sound of mud being mixed with straw, the slap, slap of wet bricks being laid one upon the other, drying in a sun that is no longer a pale disk, but a powerful, golden, creative force. Humans are bending the will of the world to their own. In the rich, black, fertile silt left by the flooding rivers in Mesopotamia, in Egypt, in the Indus Valley, they are planting seeds. They are watching with a new kind of settled patience as the first miraculous green shoots of wheat and barley push up towards the light. This is the dawn of agriculture. This is the Neolithic Revolution. And with it comes the dawn of a new kind of life, a life of permanence, a life of property, a life of cities. And as humans build the first villages, the first towns, the first great, sprawling cities of mud brick and eventually of stone, the dog is there. It is no longer a creature of the wild edge, a shadow at the campfire's light. It is a full citizen. It walks the dusty, narrow lanes. It lies in the shade of the first walls, which are built to keep other humans out. It is settled with us, its fate now completely, forever, and inextricably tied to our own. Our paths are not just intertwined. They are one. And as human life becomes more complex, the dog, with its incredible fluid genetic adaptability, changes too. It begins to specialize. Its partnership with us deepens, splinters into a dozen new forms. The camp wolf is gone. In its place, a whole new cast of characters is about to emerge, each one sculpted by human hands to fit a precise new purpose. The first and perhaps most vital of these new roles is born from humanity's other great experiment. We have not only tamed the plants, we have tamed other animals, wild goats, wild sheep, great lumbering wild aurochs, the ancestors of our cattle. These new animals are a source of food that does not need to be hunted. They are a walking larder of meat and milk and wool. But they are a new kind of problem. They are prey animals. They are nervous, skittish, and prone to panic. A flock of sheep, startled by a wolf or a clap of thunder, can scatter to the winds in a heartbeat. A lifetime's wealth vanishing into the hills. The humans, slow and clumsy, cannot manage them alone. They need help, and so they look to their oldest, most trusted partner, the dog. The dog's ancient instincts, the instincts of the pack hunt, are still there, buried deep beneath the generations of tameness. The instinct to stalk, to chase, to circle, to control movement. But now a new layer is laid on top, a new, complex command taught with infinite patience over countless generations. Do not kill. Do not harm. Control. Imagine a high, green, misty pasture at dawn. The air is cool and damp. 1,000 sheep, a white, woolly, restless cloud, are moving over the grass, and at the edge there is the dog, the ancestor of the shepherd. It is not a large, imposing dog. It is often slight, fast, and it possesses a new, startling, focused intelligence. It is watching the flock, its body low to the ground, its movements fluid and deliberate. It is also watching its human master, the shepherd, who stands on a distant hill, a lonely figure wrapped in wool. The shepherd gives a sign, a slight movement of his hand, a low, clear, piercing whistle that cuts through the morning air. The dog understands instantly. It is a blur of black and white motion. It does not run at the sheep, barking and snapping, which would cause a panic. It runs in wide, beautiful, calculated arcs. It is a living, thinking fence. It guides the flock. It sees the one sheep that is beginning to stray, and with a burst of speed, it heads it off, turning it back towards the center. It uses its eye, that intense, unblinking, hypnotic gaze of the wolf, but it is no longer the gaze of a predator. It is the gaze of a controller, a manager. It is the shepherd's lieutenant, his shadow, his other half, in this lonely, constant pastoral dance. This is a new covenant, a new bargain. The dog protects the flock from the wild wolves, its own distant, unchanged cousins. It holds them at bay, its fierce loyalty to its human pack overriding its ancient blood. And in return the dog is fed, it is sheltered, it is given a profound and vital purpose. It has become a partner in our first great industry. Meanwhile, back in the growing cities, down in the hot, dusty valleys of Mesopotamia, between the great, slow rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, another kind of dog is being shaped. Here, humans are building the world's first true cities. Brook, your Babylon. These are not small villages. They are sprawling, complex mazes of houses, temples, and palaces. Humans are building massive walls, not just to protect themselves from bears or lions, but from other armies, other cities. They are gathering for the first time vast stores of wealth, granaries filled with golden wheat, storehouses of pottery, of copper, of fragrant oil, and soon of bronze. They have created something new, a concept that did not exist in the Ice Age, property. And property, they are learning, must be guarded. This creates a new pressing need. And so humans begin to select for different traits, not speed, not herding intelligence, but size, power, loyalty, and a deep, protective suspicion of strangers. Here, the dog becomes a sentinel, a guardian, but not of a wandering tribe, of a place, a home, a gate, a temple, a palace. And so humans begin to favor the largest, the strongest, the most intimidating dogs, the ancestors of the great, broad-headed mastiffs. Imagine a dog of pure, grounded power, a broad, wrinkled head, a massive, muscular chest, with a deep, rumbling growl that is a warning in itself, the sound of thunder before the storm. These are the first guard dogs. They are loyal, fiercely, profoundly loyal to their human family, to their home. But they are aloof, even hostile, to all others. They lie at the threshold, by the city gate, or at the door of the grain house, and they know. They know the scent of every person who belongs. A stranger cannot approach. They are the living locks, the first security system. They are carved in stone. The Assyrian kings, in their great palaces, create massive, terrifying statues of these mastiff-like dogs, their sculpted muscles tense, their mouths open in a protective snarl. They place them at the entrance to their palaces to ward off enemies both seen and unseen. They are guardians of the physical world and guardians of the spirit world. And this new, powerful form of dog is given a darker, sadder task. It becomes the first dog of war. These great, imposing animals are draped in armor of quilted leather, sometimes with bronze plates. They are taught to run alongside the heavy, thundering war chariots, to pull down enemies in the chaos of battle, to spread fear and panic. They are a weapon, a living, breathing, loyal weapon, willing to fight and die for the human masters who command them. But it is in another land, a land of black, fertile soil and red, empty desert, that the dog's story takes its most beautiful and perhaps most important turn. We drift south on the slow, life-giving breast of the Nile, Egypt. Here, a civilization of immense, quiet, confident, and lasting power is rising. The pharaohs who are living gods are building monuments that will touch the sky, pyramids that are mountains of perfect stone. Their world is one of order, of cycles, of a deep belief in eternity. And in their cool stone palaces, in the shade of white linen curtains, beside thrones of gold and ivory, the dog finds a new and revolutionary role. Imagine a creature of impossible grace and speed. A dog with a long, slender, aerodynamic body, a deep chest built for a powerful heart, and a fine, elegant, intelligent head, the ancestor of the Saluki, the greyhound. The Egyptians call it Tsem, the sight hound. In the hot, still air of the pharaoh's palace, this dog is not a worker. It is not a shepherd. It is not primarily a guardian. It is ... companion. It lies on the cool, painted stone floors at the feet of the pharaoh, or the queen. It wears a collar of fine beaded leather, sometimes even of gold, studded with precious stones. It is a creature of status, yes, a living, breathing symbol of the king's power and wealth. But it is something more. For the first time, in the vivid, colorful paintings on the tomb walls, we see humans showing simple, profound, and unmistakable affection for their dogs. We see a princess, a child, stroking the slender head of her hound. We see a great nobleman on a boat in the papyrus marshes, his hand resting casually, intimately, on his dog's back. The dog is part of the family portrait. And in Egypt we find the most moving testament to this deepening bond. The Egyptians believed, with absolute certainty, in an afterlife, a beautiful, perfect continuation of their life on the Nile, in a place they called the Field of Reeds. And they intended to bring their most cherished possessions with them, their gold, their furniture, their boats, their food, and their dogs. Archaeologists opening tombs sealed for 4,000 years find them, small mummified bodies, dogs and cats and even monkeys, wrapped with the same gentle care, the same fine linen, as a human child. They are placed in their own small painted coffins, in the tombs of their masters, with small jars of dried meat and bowls of water for their long journey. This is the ultimate expression of the alliance. The bond is now so deep, so personal, so essential, that the human cannot imagine eternity without their dog. They must walk together, forever, in the green, sunlit fields of paradise. The dog is no longer just a partner in survival. It is not just a tool, or a guardian, or a weapon. It has become a part in the human heart. It has become a part of the human soul. From a shivering, bold scavenger at the edge of an ice age fire, to a mummified, beloved companion for a god-king, the dog has proven its infinite loyalty, its infinite adaptability, and in the grand, new, sun-baked civilizations of the ancient world, it has earned its final permanent place. Inside the walls, inside the homes, inside the tombs, ... and inside the human spirit. Rest now. The great empires will rise and fall. The world will change again. Bronze will give way to iron. But this bond, this love, is now forged in stone and in starlight. It will not be broken. Sleep, sleep deep. The ancient world, with its golden masks and its silent, sand-swept sphinx, begins to fade. The gods of the Nile, with their animal heads and their promise of eternal sun, grow quiet. The great, sun-baked empires of bronze and sand have crumbled, their palaces sinking back into the earth, their languages forgotten. A new power is rising in the world, a power from the north. It is an empire of iron and stone and law. It is an empire of pragmatists, of engineers, of soldiers. This is the age of Rome. This new civilization will stretch its arms from the misty, rain-soaked, haunted forests of Britain to the hot, shimmering deserts of Syria. And this new, practical, intensely ordered world will take the dog, its ancient, infinitely adaptable friend, and begin to sculpt it with a new, deliberate, and powerful purpose. The Romans are not mystics, like the Egyptians. They are masters of organization. They are classifiers. They see the world as a thing to be understood, categorized, and improved. They see the dog not just as a companion or a guardian, but as a specialized living technology, a biological tool that can be refined and perfected for a specific task, just like their aqueducts, their straight stone roads, and their invincible, disciplined legions. The single flowing river of canine evolution, which has run for millennia, now begins to branch. Under the practical, demanding, and unsentimental hand of Rome, it splits and splits again into a delta of 1,000 different streams, each one flowing towards a different, specific human need. Imagine the sound of a Roman legion on the march. It is not the sound of a chaotic, shouting tribe. It is a relentless, unified, hypnotic sound. The steady, pounding thud, thud, thousands of hobnailed sandals, the caligay, striking the stone road in perfect, unwavering time. You hear the jingle of lorica segmentata, the leather and iron body armor. You hear the creak of leather straps, the muffled clank of the gladius, the short sword, against its scabbard. And padding silently beside the centurions, you see the great war dogs of Rome, the Canis Molossus. These are the descendants of the Assyrian guard dogs, but now perfected, standardized, and bred for the specific purpose of war. They are immense, broad-chested creatures, solid, rippling muscle with massive square heads and powerful jaws. They are not pets. They are soldiers. They are draped in their own custom-made armor. A pectorale of thick, boiled leather, sometimes reinforced with bronze plates, protects their chest. A cruel, spiked collar of iron and bronze protects their throat and turns them into a close-quarters weapon. They are trained to guard the Roman marching camps at night. Their deep, rumbling, chest-shaking growl, a more potent defense than any wooden palisade. The sentry, peering into the dark, hostile German forest, trusts the dog's ears, the dog's nose, more than his own eyes. The dog is his living, breathing, unfailing alarm. In the chaos of battle they are a terror. They are unleashed and trained packs to break the enemy's front line, to run ahead of the legionaries, to sow fear and panic. They are trained to pull down horsemen, to latch onto a barbarian's shield arm, to create the opening that the disciplined human soldier will exploit. Their loyalty to their handlers is absolute. Their courage is terrifying. They are the living four-legged spirit of Roman power, disciplined, practical, and lethal. But Rome is not just an army. It is a world. It is a vast, hungry city of 1 million people, a city that must be fed. It is fed by a sprawling green countryside of vast estates or latifundia. These are not small family farms. They are massive agricultural factories worked by slaves, producing the grain, the olive oil, the wine, and the wool that the empire demands. And on these great, open, rolling estates, the dog's ancient role as shepherd is honed to a new Roman perfection. Here the Romans breed great, white, powerful dogs, the ancestors of the Maremma or the Pyrenea mountain dog. These dogs are not bred to herd the sheep, not like the quick, nimble dogs of the borderlands. They are bred for a different purpose. They are bred to live with the sheep. As tiny, white, fluffy puppies, they are placed with the lambs. They are born among the flock. They are raised sleeping against the ewes, their fur steeped in the smell of lanolin and damp wool. They grow up thinking they are sheep. They are a calm, quiet, white presence in the flock, indistinguishable from a distance, moving slowly, gently, never startling their charges. They are the flock's devoted, loving, living guardian. But they have the teeth and the heart of a wolf. And when the true wolf, the predator, comes down from the Apennine hills, this calm white dog transforms. It becomes a storm of white fury. It is a silent, gentle angel that becomes a roaring, vicious defender, its loyalty to its woolly family absolute. It will fight to the death to protect its flock, its Roman master's valuable property. It is another perfect, living tool. And then, in the fine, cool, marble-floored villas of the wealthy, another very different and revolutionary dog is being born. We move away from the noise of the barracks, away from the smell of the sheepfold. We are inside, in the shade of the atrium, where a fountain whispers, where the walls are painted with beautiful, delicate frescoes. Here, a Roman matron, a woman of immense wealth and status, reclines on a silk cushion, and in her lap we find the Canis Melitaeus, a tiny dog, a dog of pure, brilliant white, silken fur, the ancestor of the Maltese. This dog is impossibly small, delicate, with dark, intelligent, liquid eyes. This dog has no purpose. It does not hunt. It does not guard. It does not herd. It is not a tool of any kind. Its entire existence has been sculpted, generation by generation, for one radical new purpose: to be small, to be beautiful, to be gentle, and to be loved. It is a living comforter. It is a breathing, warm status symbol. It is a living jewel. This is a profound change in the human dog story. Humanity, in the form of the Roman elite, now has the wealth, the safety, the peace, and the leisure to create a dog that is simply, purely ... friend. A creature whose only job is to receive and to give affection. The birth of the lap dog is the birth of the modern pet. The great Roman Empire, which seemed as eternal and as solid as its stone roads, eventually cracks. It overstretches. It grows old. The center cannot hold. The legions are called home. The roads begin to crumble. Weeds grow in the forums. The light of this one vast, unified world begins to dim. The world grows darker, colder, more fragmented. This is the time we call the Middle Ages. Life shrinks. The world, once a vast, connected empire, is now a small, local, and dangerous place. Your entire world is your village, the fields around it, and the stone walls of your lord's castle, which looms on the hill, a promise of protection and a threat of power. And in this fragmented, feudal world, the specialization of the dog accelerates, becoming intensely, fiercely local. Imagine a great, cold stone hall in one of those castles. The tapestries hanging on the walls are heavy, thick with wool, stirring slightly in the draught. The fire is a roaring, smoking giant in the hearth. The shadows in the high, raftered ceiling are deep and black, and lying on the stone floor, which is covered in stale rushes and bones, are the Lord's dogs. These are the dogs of the noble. These are the dogs of the hunt. The hunt in this new world is no longer just for food. It is a ritual. It is a magnificent, dangerous, chaotic pageant. It is a sport. It is, above all, a preparation for war. And it requires not just one dog, but a whole, specialized, cooperative team. You see the great, tall, shaggy hounds, the ancestors of the Irish wolfhound or the Scottish deerhound. They are bred to be large and powerful and fast, strong enough to face a stag, or, in the wilder places, the last of the great wolves. They are the shock troops of the hunt. Then you see the Elant, a powerful, muscular, mastiff-like dog, a descendant of the Roman war dogs. Its job is not to chase, but to catch. It is the catcher dog, used to run in and seize the terrifying tusked wild boar, holding it at bay until the Lord can ride in with his spear. It is a life of courage, and often a short, brutal one. And then you hear, in the distance, a new sound, a sound that will echo through the next 1,000 years of art and story, the deep, musical, bell-like baying of the brachet, the ancestor of the scent hound, the bloodhound. This dog is a living, breathing miracle of specialization. It has been bred for one single, incredible purpose: its nose. Its nose is a thing of such exquisite, complex sensitivity that it can read the story of a single drop of scent on a single blade of grass, hours after the prey has passed. It is taught to follow that one cold, invisible trail, hour after hour, its deep musical baying, its voice a way of communicating to the human hunters who are far behind. It went this way. It is still moving. It is close. The dog is a living map, a storyteller, reading the invisible ink of the forest floor. The dog is now a profound status symbol. A nobleman's pack of hounds is his pride, their bloodlines guarded more jealously than his own. A king will send a gift of his finest hunting dogs to another king, a gesture of ultimate political respect. The dog is woven inextricably into the fabric of noble life. But far below the castle walls, in the humble, cold wattle and daub huts of the peasants, another dog lives. This is not a glorious, pedigreed hound. This is a small, scrappy, tough-as-roots creature, the cur, the dog of the common man, or more precisely, the terrier, a name that comes from the Latin word terra, meaning earth. This is the earth dog. Its job is not to hunt the stag in a great pageant. Its job is to live in the small, one-room, earth-floored cottage with the peasant family. Its job is to guard the family's tiny, precious flock of chickens from the ever-present sly fox. But its most important job, its namesake, is to dive into the ditches, into the ricks of hay, into the dark, damp, earthen tunnels, to root out and kill the rats, the weasels, the vermin that would eat the family's small, precious store of grain. A rat-eaten harvest means starvation. This small dog, this terrier, is a fierce, brave, tenacious, and vital guardian of the poor. It is a dog of pure, desperate utility. And in another, quieter, colder, and more sacred corner of this dark world, a new, and perhaps the most beautiful, purpose for the dog is being born. In the high, frozen, treacherous passes of the Alps, in the silent, stone monasteries, the monks of the St. Bernard Hospice are living a life of quiet prayer and service to God. Travelers on these snowy, winding, treacherous passes often get lost, caught in the sudden, deadly avalanches buried deep in the snow, freezing to death. The monks, in their wisdom and compassion, began to breed a special kind of dog, a massive dog with a thick, warm, double coat to withstand the impossible cold, a dog with a gentle, placid, steady nature, and most importantly, a dog with a superior sensitive nose, a nose that can smell a human body, a single human breath, buried deep under many feet of snow. These are the ancestors of the St. Bernard. They are trained to work in teams, to patrol the pass in the worst of the blizzards, to find the lost traveler. They are trained to dig them out and then to lie on their frozen bodies, their own great, warm, living weight, a kind of animal blanket. One dog stays to provide warmth and comfort, while the other dog, with a small cask of brandy tied to its collar, runs back to the monastery to fetch the monks. This is a new purpose, a dog of rescue, a dog of pure, selfless compassion, a dog bred not to hunt, not to guard, not to fight, but to save. So you see, the dog is no longer one dog. It is a vast, beautiful, branching tree. It has become a living, breathing, endlessly varied reflection of us, a mirror of humanity's every need, every whim, every fear, every flaw, every specialized job, and every one of our highest, most noble and compassionate ideals, from the grand, lion-sized hound of the night ... to the tiny, jewel-like companion in the lady's lap, to the brave, small earth dog in the farmer's hut, to the noble, life-saving dog of the mountain monks. There is now a dog for every purpose, and the sculpting is far from over. Now ... rest. The world is fragmented, but you are safe. The night is long, but the dog is on watch. Sleep, sleep deep. The long, cold, fragmented night of the Middle Ages, with its stone castles and its local feudal loyalties, begins to soften. The world is waking up as if from a deep, troubled, and introspective dream. A new light is spreading across Europe, a light that first gleams in the city-states of Italy. It is a light of rediscovery, of art, of ideas, of human potential. We call it the Renaissance. It is a time when humanity, for so long focused on the heavens, on the afterlife, on faith and on fear, begins to turn its gaze. We begin to look around at the world, and we begin to look at ourselves. This is the birth of humanism, a new curiosity, a celebration of human intellect, human beauty, and the beauty of the natural world. This new spirit, this new way of seeing, touches everything. It touches art and architecture and music and philosophy, and, of course, it touches the dog. The dog, our constant, silent companion, is brought into this new, bright, human-focused light. In the grand, airy palaces of Florence and the sun-dappled castles of the Loire Valley, the dog is no longer just a grim, functional tool of the hunt or the farm. It is a muse. It is in itself a work of art. The great new masters of painting, Titian, Veronese, Velázquez, are commissioned to paint the nobility of their time, and so often, in these magnificent, new, lifelike portraits, at the feet of a king, or a duchess, or a young, pensive prince, is a dog. Imagine one of these paintings. A Venetian nobleman, his face intelligent and proud, draped in robes of rich scarlet velvet and dark, lustrous fur. His hand, pale and strong with a heavy gold ring, rests not on the hilt of a sword, not on a book of prayer, but on the noble, silky head of his hound. And the hound, a beautiful, slender creature, looks up at its master, not with the cowering fear of a peasant's cur, but with a quiet, knowing, almost equal intelligence. There is a shared, silent understanding in their gaze, a bond of partnership. The painter has spent as much time on the dog as on the man, capturing the precise, loving detail of the light in its intelligent eyes, the soft, rich texture of its fur. These are the descendants of the medieval hunting hounds, but they are refined. They are sleeker, more elegant. The pointers, the setters, the elegant, long-eared spaniels. They are still partners in the hunt, yes, but the hunt itself has changed. It is less a brutal necessity for meat, and more a highly stylized, aristocratic, complex, and beautiful sport. These dogs are partners in that sport. But back in the palace they are also companions. They lie on the cool marble floors. They are a living, breathing symbol of wealth, of power, but also of a new, refined sensibility. The bond is no longer just about utility. It is about beauty. It is about style. And in the laps of the great ladies, in the quiet inner rooms of the court, the tiny comforter dogs, the descendants of the little Roman Canis Melitaeus, are more popular than ever. In a world of cold, draughty stone castles and rudimentary hygiene, these small, clean, warm, living animals are a source of profound physical comfort. They are, in a very real sense, living, breathing hot water bottles. They are pampered, adorned with silk ribbons, fed from the table, and carried from room to room. They are the living, warm, breathing secret keepers of the court, their only job to be soft and warm and loving. The world continues to turn. This age of art and discovery gives way to an age of science, of reason, of exploration, the age of enlightenment. Humanity believes it can understand and master the entire world through logic. And then, in the late 1700s and early 1800s, a new sound is heard. It begins in the green valleys of England, a sound that will, in a single century, drown out all others. It is the hiss of steam, the churn of the great pounding water wheel, the relentless, rhythmic, deafening, metallic clack, clack, clack of the great new iron machines. The Industrial Revolution. This single event changes the human world, and therefore the dog's world, more completely, more violently than anything since the first Paleolithic fire. Millions of people who for 10,000 years had lived on the land, their lives governed by the slow, sacred rhythm of the sun and the seasons, now leave. They leave their farms, they leave their villages, they leave their pastoral, green, quiet world behind, and they flood in their hundreds of thousands into new, sprawling, chaotic, and terrifying places, cities, London, Manchester, New York, Paris, cities of brick and iron and soot and coal smoke. This new life is a profound sensory shock. It is loud, a constant, grinding, inhuman noise. It is hard. It is dirty. It is, above all, anonymous. You are no longer a person in a village. You are a number in a crowd. The old, rural partnership with the dog is, for many, shattered. The average person living in a single, small, cold, rented room in a crowded tenement has no flock of sheep for a shepherd dog to guard. They have no great green estate for a hunting hound to run. They have no barn, packed with precious grain, for a terrier to protect from rats. Or rather, the rats are there, in the walls, in the cellars, but life is too desperate for the old, cheerful partnership. The dog's ancient utilitarian jobs are, for most people, simply gone. The shepherd dog, the hunting dog, the great flock guardian. They are unemployed, obsolete. It would seem in this hard, new, mechanical world that the dog itself might become obsolete, a relic of a slower, greener, simpler time. And yet, it is here. It is in these crowded, industrial, seemingly unnatural cities that the dog finds its final, its greatest, and its most enduring role. A new kind of human is born, the middle class. This person is not a noble born to hereditary wealth, but they are not a poor, land-bound peasant. They are merchants, doctors, lawyers, factory owners, clerks, and for the first time in human history, this large new class of people has something that only kings and nobles had before. They have disposable income, they have houses that they own, and they have leisure time, and they have a new, powerful, driving idea. The idea of home. The home for this new Victorian middle class is no longer just a place you sleep and work and eat. The home in this new, harsh, cold, competitive capitalist world becomes a sanctuary, a private, sacred, sentimental space, a refuge from the cold, hard, commercial, godless world of the factory and the counting house. The fireplace is the new campfire, the center of this new, protected family tribe, and this new, sentimental, sacred home needs a new kind of guardian. It needs a new kind of heart. The dog is invited inside, not into the kennel in the yard, not into the stable with the horses, not onto the pile of stale rushes by the door. It is invited into the parlor, onto the new carpeted floor, onto the velvet sofa. Its primary job is no longer functional. Its new job is emotional. The dog's new purpose is to be a companion, to be a living, breathing symbol of the very virtues the industrial world seems to be, crushing: loyalty, innocence, faithfulness, unconditional, uncomplicated, non-judgmental love. The dog becomes a moral anchor. It is the pure, innocent, natural friend to the children in a city full of danger and corruption. It is the devoted, faithful, welcoming presence for the man of the house, returning from the brutal, competitive world of business. The Victorians in the 19th century fall completely, passionately, and obsessively in love with the dog. And being Victorians with their boundless energy, their love of science, of classification, of industry, and of absolute order, they cannot just love the dog. They must prove it. They must perfect it. They must define it. They must create it. This is the birth of the breed as we know it today. This is the birth of the dog fancy. A new, revolutionary, and slightly strange idea emerges. A group of gentlemen in England decide to hold a dog show. In 1859, in the town of Newcastle, the first official modern dog show was held. This is a moment that changes the dog forever, because for the first time in 30,000 years, dogs are not being judged on their ability. No one is at this show to ask, which of these terriers is the best at killing rats? Or, which of these pointers is the best at finding a bird? They are being judged ... on their appearance. They are judged on how well they conform to a new, invented, written standard, a document, a piece of paper that describes, in minute obsessive detail, exactly what a perfect pointer or a perfect bulldog should look like, the precise shape of its head, the exact length of its snout, the set of its ears, the color of its coat, the curl of its tail. This single idea creates a frenzy, a mania. The age of breed creation begins. People all over Britain, and then America, and then Europe, begin to selectively breed dogs with an almost fanatical, scientific intensity. They are not breeding for a job, they are breeding for a look. They are breeding to win ribbons and silver cups at the new prestigious dog shows, like the new all-important Crufts. They take the old, local working types, the scrappy, nameless terriers of the villages, the tough-as-nails dogs of the common man, and they improve them. They discover them. They give them new, fancy names. They cross them and recross them. They refine them. They create dozens and then hundreds of new, distinct, and rigidly standardized breeds. The Airedale Terrier, the Fox Terrier, the Bull Terrier, the old, rugged, functional, athletic bulldog, which was bred for the brutal medieval sport of bull baiting, is a perfect example. When that blood sport is outlawed in 1835, the dog is unemployed. It is on the verge of extinction. The new fanciers step in to save it, but in saving it, they remake it completely. They breed it not for athleticism or power, but for a look, a shorter face, a wider stance, a more placid, even comical nature. In just a few generations, they transform a savage medieval gladiator ... into the short-faced, squat, gentle, snoring, wheezing, and beloved companionable bulldog we know today. A triumph of human sentiment, and in many ways a biological tragedy for the dog's own health. The breed becomes a status symbol, a hobby, a science, and an art form. In 1873, the Kennel Club is founded in London. It is the first official registry of dog breeds, the great new stud book for this new canine aristocracy. It is a moment of great triumph. These ancient, functional, regional land races are saved, their types fixed and preserved like butterflies in a case. But it is also a moment of new, profound dangers. This new, intense focus on appearance, on the tyranny of the standard, sometimes comes at the expense of the dog's original health, its genetic diversity, or its function. The river of evolution, once guided by the gentle, slow, steady hand of work ... is now being steered by the fast, specific, and often frivolous hand of fashion. But for the average dog, for the average human, the most important change is this: the dog has completed its journey. It has moved from the edge of the fire ... to the pasture, to the castle ... to the farm, and now it has moved on to the hearthrug. It has come finally, completely ... inside. It is given a special soft bed. It is given its own special food bowl. It is given a human name, not just hound or dog, but Rover, Fido, Buster, or Queenie. It is taken for walks. an idea that would have seemed completely absurd to a medieval peasant. The walk is a new ritual, a ritual of the pet keeper, a sign of this new, leisured, companionate bond. The dog is mourned deeply, truly, when it dies. It is buried in a small, special grave in the garden with a carved stone. Here lies a faithful friend. The dog has become ... a pet. It is in every sentimental and soon every legal sense a member of the family. The Victorian age, the age of steam and iron and coal, is the age that solidifies the dog's final, greatest, and most enduring purpose, to be our friend. As the 19th century turns into the 20th, the new age of anxiety, of cars, of electricity, of world wars, the old world of working dogs still exists out in the countryside. But the new, dominant, modern world of pet dogs has conquered the city, and it has conquered the human heart. The final roll is cast. And now ... sleep. The world is growing fast, and loud, and complicated. But in the home, in the quiet, a loyal friend is sleeping at the foot of your bed, or perhaps on it. Their breathing is slow and steady. You are safe. You are protected, not from wolves, but from loneliness. Rest deep. Sleep. The world turns once more. The age of steam and iron, of soot and gaslight, gives way to a new, strange, and faster age. The age of electricity, and the automobile, and the flickering, silent, moving image on a screen. The 20th century. It will be a century of dazzling, God-like invention, and of darkness and of conflict, on a scale the Roman emperors could never have conceived. And the dog, our constant, silent shadow, will walk with us into our brightest achievements, and into our deepest, most terrible failures. The dog, now firmly established as a member of the family, a pet, a companion of the heart, is about to be called back to its ancient, harder duties. The world erupts in a great war, a war of trenches and mud and barbed wire and new, terrifying industrial-scale weapons. And in this brutal, inhuman landscape, the dog is called to serve. They are not the great armored mastiffs of the Assyrians or the charging hounds of the Roman legions. They are new, specialized, trained soldiers. You see them, small, fast, clever terriers whose ancestors hunted rats in English barns, now trained to carry vital messages, a small leather pouch on their collar. They are a living, breathing telegraph line. They run, low to the ground, fast as a blur, across the deadly, open, shell-blasted nightmare of no man's land, a space where a human soldier would be cut down in an instant. They do not run out of a sense of patriotism. They run for one reason, a single beloved human handler, waiting for them on the other side. A simple, profound bond of love, weaponized for war. You see the mercy dogs, or Sanitätshund, often trained by the German side. These are Red Cross dogs, ancestors of the shepherd or the retriever. They are taught to move out into the smoky chaos after a battle to find the wounded, the men lost in the shell holes left for dead. They carry small packs with water and bandages. They are trained not to bark, which would give away the position, but to find a man, and, if he is alive, to take his helmet or a scrap of his uniform and carry it back to lead the medics to the spot. And if the man is too far gone, they are trained simply to lie down beside him, to provide a last, warm, living, comforting presence as a human life fades away in the cold mud. They are a final, loyal, wordless comfort in a world gone mad. And there are heroes. A small, stray, brindle-patched terrier, found wandering in America, is smuggled to France by a young soldier. He is named Sergeant Stubby. He learns the sound of incoming artillery shells and warns his trench mates. He can smell the invisible, acrid scent of poison gas and wakes the sleeping men. He even captures a German spy. He is a mascot, a friend, a guardian angel, a small, scrappy, common dog who, in the crucible of war, becomes a legend. The century moves on. The war ends, but the peace is short. The flicker of the silent movie is replaced by the sound and voice of the talking picture, and a new global mass culture is born. And in this new culture, the dog becomes ... a star, a hero. A German shepherd named Rin Tin Tin, rescued from a battlefield in that same great war, becomes the biggest movie star in the world. He is impossibly brave. He is incredibly intelligent. He saves the day, time after time. A few years later, a beautiful, intelligent collie named Lassie, in books and radio shows, and then, for decades on television, defines the perfect dog for generations of children. Lassie is not just a pet. She is a member of the family who is smarter and braver and more morally pure than anyone else. She is a guardian, a protector. These are not real dogs, of course. They are a story. But these new, powerful, global stories shape the human heart. They create a new, powerful, modern ideal. The dog as a supernaturally intelligent, brave, and loyal hero. The perfect companion who will always understand you, always protect you, always ... always. Come home. Humanity falls into darkness again. A second, even more terrible world war. And again, the dog serves. They are trained as sentries, as scouts. They sniff out mines. They guard coastlines. Their loyalty, their sacrifice is woven again into the fabric of our darkest history. But when that war ends, the world explodes upward. Our science, honed by war, now reaches for the heavens. We have split the atom. We have built the rocket. We are taking our first trembling steps ... off the planet. And in this ultimate, terrifying, final frontier, who do we send first? Before our human heroes, before our astronauts and our cosmonauts ... we send a dog. Her name is Leica, a small, stray terrier mix plucked from the cold, snowy streets of Moscow, a creature of ultimate, unknowing sacrifice. In 1957, she is sealed into a tiny capsule, a Sputnik, and she is launched, with fire and thunder, into the black, silent, cold emptiness of space. She is the first living being from this planet to ever see the full, perfect, silent curve of the earth, the first to see the stars without the filter of the air. It is a sad story, a lonely end. But it is a profound testament to our ancient bond, that when humanity took its very first step into the new, unknown, cosmic wilderness, we did not go alone. We sent our oldest, most trusted, most resilient partner. We sent the descendant of the wolf from the campfire. And as our science reaches out to the stars, it also begins to turn ... inward. We begin to use our new, powerful tools to look at the dog itself, not just to breed it for a new shape, but to understand it, to understand ... the bond. What is this connection, this magic that has held us together for 30,000 years? We begin to study the dog's mind. We learn that they are not just dumb animals. We learn about their complex social intelligence. We learn that they have evolved uniquely to read us. They can follow our gaze. If you point at something, a wolf will look at your finger. A dog will look where you are pointing. They have hacked our human communication, our social cues, in a way no other creature, not even the chimpanzee, has ever done. They read the subtle shifts in our tone of voice. They know from a tiny, subconscious change in our posture if we are happy or sad or angry. And then science finds the hidden chemical fingerprint of the bond. We learn about a hormone, oxytocin. It is called the love hormone or the bonding hormone. It is the chemical that is released in a mother's brain when she looks at her newborn child. It is the chemical of deep, profound, trusting connection. And scientists discover that when we humans simply gaze quietly into our dog's eyes, both our brains release oxytocin, the dog's brain and the human's brain. It is a shared mutual chemical loop of love. Science has finally truly seen the invisible thread that was first woven in the cold, deep night at the edge of that Paleolithic fire. And so we arrive in our world, the modern world, the world of the 21st century, a world of glowing screens and digital networks and constant rushing noise, a world of high-stress jobs and small apartments and families spread far apart. We are, in many ways, more disconnected from the natural world and sometimes from each other than ever before. Our ancient jobs are almost all gone, and in this new, strange, modern wilderness, the dog is more important to us than it has ever been. It has specialized again into its final and most noble forms. The dog has become a healer. You see the modern service dog, the golden, placid, focused gaze of a seeing-eyed dog, a living, thinking, loving guide who gives the gift of freedom and safety to the blind. You see the hearing dog, a small terrier perhaps whose entire job is to listen, to hear the doorbell, the telephone, the smoke alarm for its deaf human partner, and to alert them. You see the seizure-alert dog, a creature with an unknown sixth sense, who can smell or feel the subtle, invisible, chemical change in their human's body before a seizure even begins. They can warn their partner, giving them time to lie down, to be safe. You see the psychiatric service dog, a calm, steady, solid presence. A dog trained to sit on the chest of a veteran with PTSD. The dog's simple, physical, grounding weight, a living anchor, pulling the human mind back from the terror of a flashback. And you see the therapy dog, a dog whose only job is to exist, to be calm, to be petted, to be taken into a hospital, to visit a sick, frightened child, to be taken into a nursing home, to be stroked by an old, frail hand, a hand that, in that moment, remembers the simple, pure, uncomplicated joy of a soft, warm, friendly animal, a memory from a lifetime ago. The dog's job is to be pure, non-judgmental comfort, to lower our blood pressure, to ease our anxiety, to break through the walls of loneliness. So now, we are at the end, which is the beginning. We are no longer in an ice age. We are no longer building pyramids. We are in our homes, in our beds. The world outside is fast and bright and loud. But in this room, in the quiet, in the dark, you can hear it. The slow, steady, rhythmic breathing of a dog sleeping in the same room. Perhaps at the foot of your bed, perhaps on it. A warm, solid, living weight. This is the end point of the 30,000-year story. It is not an abstract, grand history of kings and wars. It is a personal one. That creature, breathing in the dark, is a living, breathing piece of history. It is the unbroken, living thread that connects your modern, complicated life, all the way back to a single, shivering, brave wolf, at the edge of a flickering orange fire, in a world of ice. The bargain has been kept, the promise, a mutual aid of partnership of loyalty, has never, not once, been broken. It is the oldest, the most successful, and the most profound alliance that our species has ever made. The unbroken bond, and now rest. You are safe. You are guarded, not from the cave bear or the saber-toothed cat, but from the cold, and from the dark, and from the modern world's deepest, most aching loneliness. You are not alone. You are with your oldest friend. All is well. Sleep, sleep deep.